Hello and welcome back to Creative Pet Keeping. In today's video, I'm going to give you an update on the Lamprologus ocellatus gold. We're hanging out in this tank. Let's take a closer look. This is the dominant male right here who is kind of in charge of the entire tank. We have Bobette, or Bob, as some of you guys know from my previous videos, who is a female, and she actually is enticing the male in her shell. So that's the shell she has chosen to be hers at the moment. And as you can see, she's kind of flirty. He picked another shell. This is the one he wants particularly. So, see, she's trying to entice him into the shell so they can spawn, although she's not really in full spawning mood. I noticed that when these guys really want to spawn, they will, their body will turn dark, so their face will turn dark, or the rest of their body. Over here we've got another male that's claimed a shell in the back. And then we have two other fish that are just kind of hiding somewhere. We have one female that's right there. She doesn't want to be bothered. And then another one, look at that sneaky little hiding right there. So there's enough shells for everybody. Actually, there's 5 fish in here, not counting the guppy jail over here with the guppies, but there's 5 fish. But I have 10 shells, so there's 2 shells per fish. And even though, oh, we've got some digging behaviors too going on camera. That's pretty cool. So what happens with ocellatus is each fish will claim a shell for him or herself. In this case, we see the female kind of digging around hers. And they're pretty aggressive. They are in a 20-gallon long. Let me kind of zoom out a little bit so you can see. And even though this is quite a lot of space for these little fish, they're still bossing a lot of the fish around. So not all of them are allowed to claim a shell for themselves. Ideally, if I could have a dream tank for this, I would have a tank that is twice as long as this. So maybe like a 40-gallon long. Oh my, that would be amazing. Because then these fish would probably finally have enough space to properly establish territories. This is kind of the best I could do at the moment, but I wanted to kind of observe what's going on with these guys. We can see some of their digging behaviors probably again. There's 2 types of digging behaviors. So they will either use their mouth. Oh, there we go. There's a little twitching which entices the male. But they'll use their mouth to pick up sand and spit it out. Or they'll do a little kind of shimmy motion which you saw earlier. You might kind of see that in a little bit because, oh, that was a beautiful yawn. So it's really a lot of fun to watch these guys. Oh, there's double the yawns. I'm really hoping that this pair right here has either spawned or will spawn, because I've had a spawn before in here, but the guppies ate it, so it didn't really survive, which is why they're in guppy jail at the moment. Oh, by the way, that's the name in case you were wondering how to spell it. But I think it'd be kind of cool if we fed them. I have some large bram shrimp that I thawed out over here. And maybe let's add some in here so we can watch their feeding behaviors, because that's always fun. So I'm going to just drop a pretty good amount. So these guys are already eating. Hopefully the more shy fish also get to come out. I like to use smaller foods like these brine shrimps where I can kind of disperse more. So that way they don't fight for it. And of course I gotta give some to the guppies. Look at the guppies. They're trying so hard to get to the food. Don't worry, you guys get some too. I'm gonna give these guys a little more. Because while you're watching this video, I am on vacation right now with my family. And Daniel's taking care of all of the fish. So I wanted to feed them a bit more heavily to maybe encourage some spawning while I'm away. I will be doing a pretty big water change right before I leave, and then Daniel's going to be doing water changes as well, but he is going to feed them quite lightly while I'm gone. So this is my kind of opportunity to let them kind of pig out a little bit, and that might encourage some spawning. I noticed that the combination of feeding them and a water change is what's needed to really get them excited to spawn. So I'm hoping that finally I can maybe have some baby ocellatus so I can follow the process and let you guys see. Oh my god, the guppies ate all their food already? Oh my gosh, really? Okay, let me give you some more. Oh my goodness, you guys are crazy. There you go. You do not get left behind. You too get really nice food. There you go. I know the females definitely need a lot. And if some of the food moves around and falls over, that's totally okay, because it'll be a little easier for the other ones to eat. So as you can see, for the most part, their tummies are full now, so I'm pretty content with how much I fed them. Did you eat? Yes, you did. You look pretty good. I apologize for the reflection, because I am filming this during the day. Oh, you can really see how sassy he is. Sassy male is sassy. Did you eat too? Oh, you did. I had to check that and make sure everyone got to eat a lot. So that is kind of what's going on over here. For comparison, why don't we head on over to the multi-tank? They are a different type of shell dwellers, and we can kind of compare and see how different they are from the ocellatus. So here is the Neolamprologus multifasciatus tank. We mostly have the group living out here in the front. They're not utilizing the entire tank. We've got like the bachelor section right here, and then we've got the male and the female with a ton of babies here. Because this tank doesn't have any plants and I don't want any algae problems, there already is like a little bit, but it's very manageable. And this is by a window. There's a window right there. I'm using the light from here to kind of bleed through and light this tank, which is also very energy efficient for the sake of, you know, what we have going on here. Now, I did feed the babies a little bit. They're getting a powder fry food, and I'm also giving them brine shrimp. So this is a powder mix of 2 different types of foods. I just keep them in this little metallic container so I can like clip it on like this, and it's very easy to access. But I'm going to give the adults some of the brine shrimp so they can get like a nice bigger food, and some of the larger fry can get some of the bigger pieces as well. So the difference between the ocellatus as well as the multis is that these guys also dig, but they dig the sand kind of away from their shell. So as you can see, there's like a hole here. Now, I just yesterday evened out the sand again, so they make little sand mountains everywhere, and then every now and then I'll even everything out again, and that is for the sole purpose of just restarting them so they have something to do. They have like a little job. But they're doing a lot of digging right here. So this is where all the little fry are hanging out. We've got fry of a variety of different sizes. So when these guys grow out, I will hopefully be selling them locally. Unfortunately, I don't feel comfortable shipping these guys, so I will not be selling these guys online. So if you're local to Chicago and can attend the Greater Chicago Cichlid Association, which is my local club, then there is a pretty good chance that you'll be able to get some of these guys in the future from me. I actually got them originally from Jason from Primetime Aquatics. He has a crazy 40-gallon lowboy where he keeps all of them, and you can see it in the room tour that I made of his place. It's kind of really worth checking out because it's kind of amazing. But this is their little life they're living. So the little fry get fed little food. I also add microworms in here as well, and that is for the tiniest of babies as well. So I'm trying to give them a bit of a variety of food. I'm going to give them just a little more brine shrimp. But because they eat a lot of smaller foods that I feed during the day, I don't feed them very heavily on the brine shrimp. This is just to help the adults kind of make sure that they're getting the right amount of food, but I don't really want to overfeed these guys. Plus, this is a really cute tank. It's kind of fun to watch. I wish we would see their digging behaviors, but they don't seem to be in the mood to do that today, but in the future you can see that. Oh, and my Pleco. So this is the oldest Pleco I have. He decided he's going to pretend he's a multi and hang out in a shell. So I had to actually move him from the ocellatus tank because the ocellatus were very mean and bullying him, and it seems like the multis are a little nicer. They can be quite aggressive, so you have to be very careful which fish you keep these guys with. Preferably, if you want to keep a tank with multiple species, you want a tall tank, so that way you can have species that stay up top, because the multis will claim the bottom for themselves. But they're a tiny bit nicer, but these guys can be really crazy if they want to be. They're quite nice towards each other though, so there is a lot less aggression in terms of multi versus the ocellatus, who are very aggressive towards each other. So if you want to try out a shell-dwelling species, I would definitely recommend these guys. By the way, this is what their name looks like. I have labels on all of these because I am very bad at remembering Latin names, but Latin names are very important because trade names, which are the common like pet store names for fish, they can sometimes change based on, you know, the fish store or who is selling the fish, and then you can kind of get fish mislabeled and get the wrong fish. So by sticking to a Latin name, there's a lot less room for error. There's still some, but it's not as bad. Also in the back, for fun, I ended up getting a Onyx Stone. So this is black onyx, which technically is a form, I believe, of volcanic glass. So I think this like forms in a volcano. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm hoping that this colony will kind of spread on over and fill up this tank just a little more, versus like everybody kind of hanging out in one area, and then we have the lonely bachelor pad over here. Although I am guessing that this might be a female, maybe, because I can't tell exactly, but my guess is that the lighter colored ones are males and then the darker colored ones are females. But I'm not exactly sure yet because I haven't spent enough time looking at these guys. You can actually keep these guys in as small as a 10-gallon, but the bigger the better. I have these guys in a 20-gallon tall, and the added space really not only lets their colony grow a little better, but it does give them more mental stimulation, which gives them a lot more space to establish territories, less fish get bullied, and then they also can dig a lot more. I do have some previous videos of when I used to keep them in a 10-gallon, but the problem I faced is that some fish were bullied a little too much and then would just hide in one area and then couldn't really get anywhere. So in this case, you know, we have the breeding couple right here that's got 5 million babies, and then of these fish, you know, have that space, and I try to separate like little chunks of shells so they can kind of have their own territories. So that's what's going on with my little multis.